So Kamala Harris yesterday, she is just a wonder. I mean, just a political master of her domain. She's incredible at this. So yesterday, she smiled and waved as she ignored questions on oil.
Thank you.
Madam Vice President, any expectations ahead of your City review?
She will catch you later. Bye. Yay. By the way, she was speaking about transportation at the time. She gave an entire speech about what if we could imagine heavy-duty vehicles producing zero emission. What if we could imagine that? What if we could imagine cars stalled in the streets because you morons decided that you were going to invest a bunch of money in less efficient sources of energy in the face of dictatorships that are producing most of the energy that people need? I mean, like, what are you doing? Here's Kamala Harris yesterday.
Imagine a future. The freight trucks that deliver bread and milk to our grocery store shelves, and the buses that take children to school and parents to work. Imagine all the heavy-duty vehicles that keep our supply lines strong and allow our economy to grow. Imagine that they produced zero emissions. Well, you all imagined it.
You imagined it, and so it was real. And so it was real because you imagined it. Imagine a unicorn whose farts power the economy. You imagined it. You did. I saw it in your brains. That is, man, if she hides in a sewer and carries a red balloon, wow, she is such a clown. Okay, so that wasn't the best Kamala Harrisism. There has to be some sort of term for Kamala Harris saying completely nonsensical things that are said with absolute fervor and are treated as deep thoughts. You know, the distinction between deep thoughts by Kamala Harris and deep thoughts by Jack Handey, that line has been basically obliterated at this point. Between Kamala Harris saying we must always do what we have been doing and we must continue to do it, and this one. So yesterday she dropped an all-timer. So here is Kamala Harris speaking yesterday and saying so little with so many words, while smiling creepily at you. It was a moment. Here we go.
That's why we're here today. Because we have the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, and then to make the possible actually happen.
Did you catch all that? Got to retrace those steps, okay? Because this one is like, it's like an Escher Bach painting. It's like an Escher, MC Escher thing. Like the staircase goes around and it looks like it's going back to the beginning, but somehow it's still below. That's the sentence. Okay, it's MC Escher. So she says, okay, just get this right. We have the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, and to make the possible actually happen. Yeah, she's a doozy. She's a doozy. Meanwhile, the Russian bombs are falling in Ukraine and the oil prices are skyrocketing. But don't worry, you imagined it. You imagined it. So much imagination happening and the power of imagination. So basically, the energy strategy of this administration is the same as the strategy of the Lost Boys in Hook. Right? You sit at that table with Robin Williams and you unfurl, you pick up the platter cover and there's just steam. But if you imagine it, that steam is energy. It's real. We have like a big food fight. It'll be so much fun. It'll be bangarang. That is the energy strategy of this administration. They're a damned joke. It's unbelievable. By the way, Pete Buttigieg is just as great. So Pete Buttigieg, remember, these are their top presidential candidates. Okay, you got an old man who's dead. You've got Kamala Harris, who is the creepiest person in American politics. I mean, just wildly bizarre and creepy and laughs weirdly and is terrible at this and says things like, and I have to quote it again, we have the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, and to make the possible actually happen. Which sounds like 10,000 corporate advisors saying synergy in unison while pounding on typewriters like monkeys to come up with that sentence. And then you have Pete Buttigieg, who is the Secretary of Transportation because he likes choo-choo trains and is gay. That is why he's the Secretary of Transportation. Because generally, you don't take failed mayors of South Bend, Indiana, and make them Secretary of Transportation because they like choo-choo trains. This genius went completely absent for 2 months from his job in the middle of a supply chain crisis, and no one noticed. No one noticed. But the good news is, he's a real man of the people, is Pete Buttigieg. We know this is a man so great that he is both not a good mayor of South Bend, Indiana, but is gay and also learned Norwegian to read a book in Norwegian. These are the things that are important about Pete Buttigieg. And so Pete Buttigieg, yesterday, he said that the answer to this problem with the supplies of oil and natural gas, that the answer is you need to buy an electric vehicle. My God, why didn't I think of that? You idiots, just buy an electric vehicle. I mean, what's the problem? Here's Pete Buttigieg, man of the people.
Clean transportation can bring significant cost savings for the American people as well. Last month, we announced a $5 billion investment to build out a nationwide electric vehicle charging network so that people from rural to suburban to urban communities can all benefit from the gas savings of driving an EV.
Oh, man. Wow. I mean, those gas savings, those must be incredible, right? I mean, you know how much money we could save on gas if you could just buy an electric vehicle? Why didn't anyone think of this? Why don't you buy an eagle and ride it around, guys? A giant eagle, not like a regular sized eagle, like a huge giant eagle, like the ones from Lord of the Rings. You can imagine it. I see you imagining it right now. The giant eagles, right? That should have taken Frodo and Sam directly to Mount Doom instead of having them wander all the way through the entire lands of Lord of the Rings world, Middle Earth. If you could have those eagles, they are green energy. Okay, let me just explain that according to Kelley Blue Book, the average transaction price for an electric vehicle in April 2021 was $51,500, which is $11,000 higher than what you would pay at the dealership for a full-size gas-powered car and $30,000 more than the average compact car sale. So, you guys, I know you're worried about the price of the pump. I know that incremental difference between like $4 and $7 is just killing you. So if you could just drop like $30,000 for an electric vehicle, and when I say $30,000, I don't mean $30,000 total. I mean $30,000 above what you would pay for a new vehicle. So if you could just take that car that you weren't going to replace, dump that, and buy a $50,000 electric car, that would fix your problem when you are deeply worried about your energy costs rising to the tune of, I don't know, $100 a month. Clearly, you got 50 grand sitting around. What's the problem here? These people are... But it is also worth noting here that according to Axios today, it turns out that your electric vehicle does not work when it is cold outside. This is a problem. The percentage of EPA range in freezing and warm weather. Okay, so the Chevy Bolt loses an extraordinary amount of its range when it is cold outside. It loses like 33% of its range when it's cold outside. So does the Chevy Volt. Some of the better cars, like the Tesla Model Y, don't lose any range at all. But some of the worst cars, like the Chevy Bolt and the American cars, American made, all those cars, the Detroit cars, really, those are the ones that are the worst when it is cold outside, which is when you need to get places because it's cold. These people. But you know what? In the end, it's really about it's the imagination. It's all the power of imagination. So EPA Administrator Michael Reagan said yesterday that we just have to imagine the future. And if we can imagine together, like those children at the Lost Boys table, then it will materialize. It'll be so much fun. Here we go.
Under President Biden and Vice President Harris's leadership, we're pressing the accelerator to reach a zero emissions future sooner than most people thought. EPA's two announcements today are about seizing the opportunity that technology presents and driving towards a cleaner, healthier, more just future for all of our children.
Well, I mean, if we can imagine it, then imagination is the first step to achievement, unless there are no other steps other than the imagining and spending lots and lots of money. Meanwhile, gas prices at the pump, yeah, they're getting worse. So here is the United States' tempers. It's the same as the old solution, guys. Remember the old solution was we are going to go green, but then secretly kind of, because we're NIMBYs, right? Not in my backyard. We're going to go green, but then secretly we're going to shovel a bunch of dirty, horrible oil from like the Middle East and Russia and South America. We're going to bring it in. We're going to use that stuff for your car, right? But here we are going to focus on windmills, beautiful windmills that chop birds into small pieces. We're going to focus on those and solar energy that doesn't work when it's dark outside and the batteries aren't all that durable. And we have to get the lithium for the batteries from China. But forget all of that. The important thing is imagination. How are we going to fix this problem? The same way we've been doing up until now. We're going to go to the world's worst people and we are going to ask them for oil. This is their actual plan. I know what you're thinking. It's time to binge some more Ben Shapiro videos. Well, you are right. You should. But first, like and subscribe. Perfect. I'll see you in the next video.